Today we are doing our Ju-Baa-Lee. Okay, so this one here is the one that I prefer. I tried doing a bigger, slightly bigger one with a bigger body, and I preferred this one. So I'm going to go for a slightly smaller one today with a bit of luck. What you will need, it's really simple, and you don't need much at all, which is really nice. So what you need today is some white, and that's going to be for his head and his ears. A little bit of black. You don't need much. You're literally going to use a tiny bit for the detail in his nose. Oh, we did penguins, did we? Gosh, I don't remember doing that. That's terrible, isn't it? Look at that. It is the COVID fog. Thanks, Alison. We've got a little bit of Candy Floss Pink, which I have used for details for his nose and just in his ears. So you just need a teeny tiny bit. Okay, you won't need much at all. Which is what I like about these. It's really good. I'll put those to the side. Also going to need a little bit of, ooh, if I can get it, a little bit of white felt. I'm just using an old bit today. Let's see, you don't need much of anything, and we're just going to do sort of an egg shape on here. Okay, it's just to give it a bit of stability in the middle, really, of the brooch. Okay, so there's that. Also, curls of your choice. Obviously, if you're making a white one like me, you probably want to go for sort of creamy curls, but you can do them in different colours. I was thinking the other day what other colours I could use. It'd be fab. So I've got from my stash these little blue face Leicester curls, which I love, but you could use bigger curls. There's no reason you can't use bigger curls. I've got these are gorgeous. Bit of Wensleydale. All right, so it doesn't really matter what you decide, because it's your brooch. You can do whatever you like. Go for rainbow, crazy rainbow, Jubilee, red, white and blue. Wouldn't that be fabulous? Okay, you will also need your felting surface, obviously. I've got my clover tool with two 38 gauge needles in there, just to speed it up a little bit, and then I've got a singular one if I need it, which I'll probably use for the detail. I've got scissors just in case. What did I use the scissors for? Oh, I remember, I snipped, obviously we're going to be cutting out the felt, but I also snipped around the ears just to give him a bit of a trim, because there was a lot of loose fibres. You'll also need an awl. This is just for poking in for the eyes, okay, because I've used glass eyes. I thought they look quite nice. What I love about sheep is that they've got these big eyes. So I haven't tried to cover him up. I haven't given him an eyelid or anything like that. So we're going to need that, an awl for the eyes. Obviously, if you're doing black wool for the eyes, then obviously you won't need one. So nice and easy. And then you're going to need some eyes. Now these are my little pack. I've just stocked up. I don't know whether you saw my post the other day. I spent £27 on eyes. I kid you not. I needed some for workshops anyway, but I stocked up all mine as well, which is really good. But one thing that I find really tricky is trying to keep track of what size is what. So I've got one of these sort of pill, I don't know what you call them, pill tins, I don't know. And I've started now to try and remember just to mark what they are now, because there's such a little difference, obviously a millimetre between them. Yeah. I just trying to keep track. Got stocked up on loads of 5s, which I'm going to be using today. But also, obviously, you could use a 6. I quite like my sheep with bigger eyes. I just love the fact that the sheep have got these big eyes. Morning, Lee. Lovely to see you. Maria, what have you done? Have you stocked up on eyes? You're as bad as me. I love it. I love having all the different size eyes, because you just never know what you're going to need, do you? Okay, so yeah, today I'm probably going to be using my 5mm. But if you want to go slightly bigger, I think they look lovely with bigger eyes. They look cute with bigger eyes. It depends how big you make your brooch, doesn't it? It's completely up to you. Okay, so we'll come back to those in a minute. You will also need your brooch back. If you bought a little pack from me, I only had a few packs, but if you got one from me, then you've got 2 of the brooch backs. I did also find some other brooch backs. Let me find them. I did want to show you. So these are the ones that I sent out, and these are the ones that I usually use. Okay, but I did find these. Hang on, I'm just going to get one out of the bag for you. Found them on Etsy. But I thought these were quite handy as well because they've got a flat bit at the back. So you can put the glue on the back of here and then cover it up. Okay, so that's a different type. Depends what you like to use really. Completely your choice. Let's get those out of the way. You will also need your crown because obviously she needs crowning. Your Ju-Baa-Lee sheep. I've got these little ones. You can find them at Felt and Dandy. Or if you look on somewhere like eBay and you look for crown spacer beads, okay, this is what you'll find. If you're happy to wait, if you don't mind waiting a little while and you don't mind things coming from China, then they are a lot cheaper. All right, so that's those. All right. Excellent. Right, I think that's everything, guys. I've also got some pins. I always have pins in the side of my mat just in case, but I've got those just for you'll see in a bit, just to make sure I get the eyes in the right place. Okay, so I'm just going to move everything out of the way. I've got everything in various stages, which is quite handy. Ooh, get these out in the corner, look. Okay, so first thing we're going to do is we're going to make the head. Now the reason I do the head first and then I do the body is so that I know what size the head is before I do the body, obviously, because if you do the body and then you make your head too big or too small. Whoop. So we're just going to take some of our fluff. Oh, morning, Sam. Morning, lovely fluff folk. Love it. Morning. Yes, this is from the Felt Box. The Felt Box is finding it hard to get the Snow White in at the moment. They do have it in the other fibre. I can't remember what the other fibre is called now. I want to call it DHG, but I think that's the hair straighteners. But the other one that they have, you know, the other one that they do have in a bright white, and I have tried it and it is lovely. Okay, this one was the one, oh, sorry, make you dizzy. I just hit the camera, I do apologise. This one was the one that's got the slight grey tinge to it, and I didn't mind that because obviously I'm going with my sort of creamy curls, so it doesn't matter if it's a bright white. Okay, it is DHG. Oh, that's all right then, Sam. I thought I was talking about hair straighteners then. I don't straighten my hair, as you can tell, but right, okay, so we're just going to make the head first, and it's really simple. There is nothing complicated about this make at all. It's really simple shapes all put together, and that's why I thought it'd be great for us, because we could just have fun making something in an hour or so. Okay, so taking some fluff, and I think that's going to be a bit too much. I'm going to take a little bit off. Okay, so I'm going to fold it in half and then roll it into the shape that I want it to go. So folding in half, okay, and then I'm literally just going to roll it. If I decide that it's too long, because it's going to be, I'll put it that way, it's going to be the length of your head. Okay, if I decide that's too big, I can just fold in the other side a little bit as well and then roll. Okay, so I'm going to do that actually just because I know every time I roll without fail, it gets longer and longer and longer. And that's okay because we can fix that. But I'm going to try and help myself to start with. So first things first, we're just making a sausage. Okay, so I'm going to use my single needle for a minute to get everything together. And then I might be brave, oh dear, live on air, with my multi-needle tool. On a small project is probably not the best idea, but I'll give it a go. Sorry about the nails today, ladies. Oh, I was so annoyed with myself. So I sat down to get everything ready. I was like, oh, I haven't painted my nails. I had such plans. I apologise, I'm very boring today. It has been a crazy week. My son is my eldest son is taking his SATs this week, so we've had to get him into school early, and of course I've got two other children, so we've had to be sitting in the car waiting for when we have to go in. But anyway, it has just been manic. Right, so I'm stabbing and turning, stabbing and turning, stabbing and turning. For anyone who hasn't made a sausage shape before, always turn. Okay, if you are turning, then you're not flattening your piece, and that's exactly what you want. Okay, at the moment I'm pushing all the way through because I'm doing a tiny little core. I'm pushing all the way through with my needle. Get the, barbs pushed all the way through. Okay, right. It's actually, what I love about this fibre is that it really doesn't take very long to felt. Like, obviously I haven't used a core wool in the middle. This, I'm just using the top coat, because anything that's really small, there is just no point in putting a core wool in the middle, because it would take just as much time to end up covering it anyway. So you might as well, when you're doing small pieces, just use the top coat. Okay, so what I want to happen is I want more of an egg shape. So I'm going for something like this, ladies, okay? And you can see these two are slightly different. Everything I make is different. I cannot make anything the same, even if I follow my own pattern. Okay, so just so you know, they will all look slightly different, and that's absolutely okay. Right, okay, so I'm going for this sort of egg shape. So what I want to do is I want to build up the top, which will be the back of his head. And I want to thin this bit out here, sorry, in here. So we'll do lots of stabbing, okay? We want this bit at the end where the nose is to be as firm as we can get it. Won't take very long, but we want it as firm as we can get it so that when we go to put the details in, the details stay in place. Otherwise, they just get sort of embedded back into the squishiness of the wool, and you don't end up with quite so good details. Okay, so we're going to make them quite firm, all right? Put them there. They're headless. Oh dear. Look a bit strange. Right, at this point, I'm going to try and decide which is the front and which is the back. Now, I know I can do lots of stabbing at the front and slim it down, and I'm going to add to the back to build it up. Okay, so I'm going to make this my nose, I think, and this the back of my head. So for the back of my head, I like just to do a little bit of stabbing in to get it to all come together. Ooh. And push all those fibres back in, and it sort of rounds itself off automatically, which is quite nice. Still using my single needle at the moment. It's because I'm I'm working in whites and I'm not brave enough to switch to the oh dear, to the clover tool on live Facebook, because we're working in lots of white. I've got a nice new top and if I end up covering everything in red, I don't think that would be a very nice experience for you. If I was working on my own, I'd probably have my music on full blast, just stabbing away, but oh, it always happens to me, doesn't it? So I'm going to be brave and just, be safe and just use this for now. Okay, so that started to round itself off already, which I'm quite pleased with, but I am going to add a little bit more in a minute. Okay, for the front, where his nose is, or her nose is, if I had my multi-needle tool and I was using that, it would be super fast, but I'm just using my single for now. So I'm stabbing up, down, and turn. Up, down, and turn. Up, down, and turn. Until I get the shape that I want. Okay, now all I'm doing is all the fluffiness here, hopefully, will come in as I'm stabbing. Ooh, and we'll end up with more of a rounded shape at the front for her nose, or his nose. Her nose, because she's the queen, isn't she? Of course, silly me. Goodness me. But what's going to happen is all the fibres are being pushed in at the moment, and you might get what I call a little bit of a seam. Okay, and that doesn't matter, because what we can do is we can get the tiniest bit of fluff in a minute, and we can put a little bit over the top, and you'll soon get rid of those seams. All right, so you won't know that anything's there. You can, of course, push in here. I'm not pushing in too hard when I'm pushing in at the end. And I'll tell you why, because otherwise the nose will go too flat for me, okay? And what tends to happen is they do flatten out anyway. When you put the detail in, it does flatten everything out anyway, so I don't want it to be too flat. So I'm trying not to push in too much at the end. But if you hold, and if you're brave and you're not watching me while you do it, because I know how tempting that is, if you push in here, and always watch your needle, it does get that lovely shape at the end. Please, please, please watch where you're stabbing. This is not a large project and your fingers are very close, so please be careful. I'm just pinching in as I go, and it gives me a really nice shape. Okay, so you're holding all those fibres together, you're pushing your needle in, and it holds, those notches are tangling everything up, and it holds it all together. Okay, I can feel, yeah, it's starting to get a little bit firm now, which I'm happy with. So have a look at your shape. Mine's gone a little bit smaller than I was anticipating, but that's okay. I can always add more. It's always better to go smaller, start smaller, sorry, and add some more than it is to use too much in the first place. Okay, so I'm going to start adding a little bit more now. Is anyone actually felting along? I know it's really hard to type when you're felting along, but I promise you I can see the messages. All right, so if you need me, you know, give me a wave, holler at me. Stop, tell me that again. Oh dear. I'm just firming it up a bit before I start to add a little bit more. That's all I'm doing. Oh, Maria says she's stabbing along. Fabulous. Oh, Lee's doing some crochet. What are you making? Oh, I'd love to learn to crochet. At one of the places that I teach my workshops, they're doing beginners classes, and I was so tempted, but every one they've got on, I'm working, which is really annoying. But one day I'll do it. Oh, Alison's felting along. Ashley's not today. Well, you've just finished an amazing project. Just chill. Listen to the stabbing. You know how much I love it. Ashley's just finished that amazing, oh gosh, my brain, bike and side cart. Is that what you call it? I hope that's what you call it. It was amazing. And it had a little fox in it. It was just brilliant. It's a cardigan. First time I've made an adult cardie. Oh, I bet that's nice. Oh, what colour are you going for? Oh, do tell all. I'm more of a knitter. Oh, okay. Fab. Which one's easiest, Lee? Because some people, right, I always assumed that knitting was harder. No, knitting was easier, sorry. And then recently everyone keeps saying, no, crochet's so much easier. You know. Yes, with an alien and a fox. That's right. Absolutely fabulous, Ashley. Oh, where do you get your ideas? Did you see a bike with a sidecar and an alien and a fox driving past your house and you thought, do you know what? I'd love to make one of those. I bet that's how you did it. Belting along and munching biscuits. Yes, Vicky. I wish I'd have bought some biscuits. That was, oh, look. I can't leave now. I've got no nice things here today. Oh, how sad. It is sad. I'm off into town with, like I said, my mother-in-law and my husband tomorrow, so I'm going to get some nice things. I do have a drink, which I'm just going to have a quick sip of while you're felting along. Okay, right. I'm going to add some more. And when I say I'm going to add some more, I'm going to add the tiniest bit. This is the bit that I took off earlier. Tiny, tiny, tiny bits is all I need, because I don't want it to get too much bigger, but I do want to get the back of his head bigger and round him off a little bit. Okay, so I might just get a tiny bit more than that. There you go, look, it's a little pinch. Oh, little pinch, not much at all. Okay, and what I like to do is I pull it apart and restack it a couple of times. Makes it slightly smaller and more manageable side to go on the back of his head. Her head, sorry. And also, hopefully it'll make it a bit thicker. There we go. Okay, so I literally just place it over the back of his head. Oh, I've done it again. Her head. Okay, and then I'm just stroking it all down. You'll see it started to round off already, which is really nice. Just watch your fingers, because remember we're working really small. And you're watching me, so just please be careful. And I'm literally just stabbing it in. I've slowed down now because I don't want to stab myself. But just imagine you are sculpting. Needle needs to go as if you wanted to round off. Alright. And then any of the bits that are down the side, I just stab those into the head. Now if that's not enough for you, you can always add another layer at the back. Oh, Lee says it's a natural colour with tweedy flecks. Oh, it sounds lovely. Chunky, yes, that's what we like. I find knitting easier now though. I find crochet easier to learn at first. Ah, okay, well that's interesting. I always think what doesn't worry me, but what I think about if I was to start a project, a knitting project, and put it down, then I'd be completely lost, or a crochet one obviously, I'd be completely lost. Whereas with needle felting, if I get 20 minutes to felt and I do some felting and I start, I'm not lost. I know exactly where I am because I can see it. Do you know what I mean? It's not a pattern, so that's why I like it. I don't often get long periods of time to felt, unfortunately. I grab every minute I can. Crochet's faster. Oh, okay. But it depends on what you learnt first. Oh, okay, Alison. That's interesting. I think my mum does both. My nana, bless her, she was a knitter. And before she passed away, she started to teach me how to knit. And I still have how far she got, her knitting needles and the wool, because I can't bear to get rid of it. It always reminds me, and I always think if my nana was here today and she could see all the nice felting that I do now, she'd be really fascinated. That's experience though. Yeah, absolutely. The more you do it, anything really, isn't it, the better and better you get at it. As long as you love it, that's all that matters. Right, okay, so I'm going to put a little bit more at the front because I wanted to cover that seam up. Now, as you can see, that one has turned out a lot smaller. Well, not a lot smaller, a little bit smaller than this one. So if I wanted to, I could start to build it up a bit. Like I said, we could add a little bit more to the back, so I'll do that now, just make him a little bit bigger because I want you guys to be able to see what I'm doing. So I've taken another pinch, a little bit more this time, and I'm going to put that to the back. If I wanted to make it loads bigger, then I could wrap. I could use a bit and wrap it round, and that would give me a lot more bulk at once till I was happy, but I just want to make it a little bit bigger. And then I'm going to add a little bit more to his nose just to cover the seams, round it off a little bit and make sure it's nice and firm. If you are brave, because no one's watching you, and it doesn't matter if you're covered in red by the end. No, nobody do that, please. If you are using your multi-needle tool, then well done. You'll be much faster. But I can feel already, it does have a bit of squish to it, but it is felting pretty fast. I'm using my 38 gauge needle. I think I said that a minute ago. I like to use the triangular needles. When I first started felting, 8 years ago, you know, triangular was the general all-rounder, and that's what I sort of started with, and I just love it. I use it for all my workshops. Always like to experiment, so I do like to try the other ones, don't get me wrong. I always end up going back to my 38 gauge triangle. It's funny, isn't it? Okay, so I've just done the back. I'm going to do a tiny bit for the front of his nose, just to round it off. I don't need much. I'm going to take that bit. Don't need much. Just to round it off, make sure it's nice and firm. And get rid of that seam at the end. So I've just done exactly the same as I did with the back. I don't want to make it too flat, so I'm going to be careful the way I felt this bit. I'm going to go straight in, straight down here and turn like I did before, because I don't want to lose the front. Now it depends how you like your sheep's faces, obviously, to what shape exactly you go for. I've seen some lovely sheep with more of a quite a round face, which I suppose this one is, quite a rounded face. I've seen lots with more slimmer faces, trying to be a bit more realistic, because they have that nice slim bit at the front, don't they? But it's your brooch, you can do whatever you like. Okay, and what I like about it is that, well, if you know me, I'm not too fussy. I don't really like worrying about how much I've used for one ear and how much I've used for the other. As long as it's roughly the same, I'm happy. So I'm happy if my faces turn out roughly the same. Okay, I'm going to leave mine at that. Okay, if you want to keep going, that's absolutely fine. Ooh, if you want to make yours a little bit bigger, that's absolutely fine. I've just found a big bit of black in there. I'm going to take that out. It's annoying me. Okay, it's gone. Right, so if you want to make it a bit bigger, absolutely fine, completely your choice. I've got a little bit of fuzz round, and if I didn't like the little bit of fuzz, I might just give it a bit of a in my hands. That often helps. Or with my, oh, I'm reaching over now, or with my thinner needles, I can go round. I usually leave this sort of thing until the end and make sure everything's smooth. If you wanted to, that's absolutely fine. Get that out of the way. If you did a black head, would you go with white with the eyes? Yeah, that's tricky. I made some sort of can't think of the word. I made baubles at Christmas that was more of a cutesy lamb, cutesy sheep, and he had big eyes, really big eyes, so big googly eyes. So I went black then white with the big googly eyes. But I think if I was going to be true to these sort of brooches and a little bit more daintier, I might go a smaller black eye with my with a glass eye, and then I'd probably just go round with the white and outline it and do more of a shape with his eye, so you've still got the eyes that you can see. And I'd probably definitely go for glass eyes so that you can see them better, obviously, on the black. But yeah, it's always tricky doing the black sheep, isn't it? If you have a look, Google it and have a look. Well, obviously we don't have any black sheep, but the really dark brown sheep, you'll see you could use the different type of eyes, couldn't you, with the sort of the ones that I use for hares, sort of ambery colour, because that's what they've got. Sometimes they've got the blue, but they have the line going across the middle, don't they? So you could actually use different sorts of eyes, couldn't you, which would make him look a little bit more realistic. I wouldn't go for googly eyes unless you were feeling crazy, which, you know, why not? Oh dear, it's your brooch, you can do what you like. Okay, so there's the head. I've got distracted. There's the head. Okay, next thing I would do is work out where my eyes were going to go. So I haven't done my ears yet, but they're going to go just literally to the side. Okay, and usually I come forward and do the eyes just in front. It's your choice where you choose to do your eyes. On these two here, oh no, I think I've got them roughly the same. The only difference between those two eyes is that I've pushed these ones in a little bit more and given him more of a socket. Although they still look pretty large, and then these ones here just been indented just slightly. Okay, so I'm going to go, and this is what I said about the pins. They're really useful because you could just be careful, obviously, what's going on the other side. You could, hang on, the white one isn't going to help me right now, is it? You could push your pins in and decide whereabouts they're going to go. I think that's a tiny bit too far back. So I'm going to go forward a little bit. Ooh, I don't want them too far apart, although they are on the side of the head. Yeah, that's good. Now just be careful, because like I said, it does go through the back, alright? I don't want anyone hurting themselves. But once you're happy with where the placement of your eyes is, you could just use your needle to do a little bit of an indent around the pin. I don't mind if I'm hitting the pin sometimes, it damages the pin, that doesn't matter. Just so I know where I want them to go. There you go. So I've got a little bit of an indent there. And with eyes, you really do want them to match. Otherwise they look a bit strange. So you do want them to be in the same place. So just make sure, use your needle. Yeah, it's in the same place. Okay, excellent. Usually I would switch to a slightly stronger needle. What's my black one? Sorry, I've got the Heidi Feathers sheet in front of me. I've put it onto my needle holder just to help me. So the black one is a 38 star, so it's a little bit more aggressive, and that's the one I usually switch to, so to get a real good indent. But I mean, if you just keep going with your 38 for a little bit of extra time, it'll do the same thing. Alright. I do have a 36, which is the green one. Let's give that a go. Oh, let's see. I find 36 is really hard to work with. I don't know why. It hurts my wrist as I'm pushing in, and I find it's just too aggressive. I don't want to snap anything either, which I have done before with my 36. Okay, there you go. So those two are inside there. Okay, so that's where I'm going to put my eyes. I've got my awl. Where's my eyes? That's a good question. Here they are. Now, like I said, I have sent, if you had a little pack from me, I sent the 5mm eyes. But it's your choice what you choose to use. If your head's a bit bigger or a bit smaller, you might want to go for smaller or bigger eyes. Completely your choice. I think I'm going to go with the 5s. Yeah, I think that's a nice size. Oh, one tip that I can give you with eyes, which is quite a good tip, and it took me ages to sort of realise that I could do this. If you're used to working with armatures and you have... oh, goodness me. Let me get mine so I can show you what I mean, because I can't think of the word. Where have I put him? Here they are. Oh, dear. Pliers. That's the word I'm looking for, ladies. I'm so sorry. I'm hoping my brain's going to go back to normal. Could be in trouble. If you've got cutters, you could just snip those down a little bit. Because obviously we're working on quite a small head. And if it's too big, they're going to hit each other in the middle. And that's just annoying. So, yeah, cut them down. Cut them down to size. Do you know what? You know, it's such a simple thing to think of. And I never thought of it for ages. Until I started doing small things. And I was thinking, oh no, that's so annoying. It pushes through to the other side. And I thought, why am I not just chopping them off? Silly me. So if you're used to working with armatures or anything like that, then you've probably got a pair of those somewhere. Okay, so I've just snipped mine down slightly. That's fine. You don't have to do that, obviously. Right, so now I am going to push it in, but what I'm going to do first is get some glue. So I'm using, turn the right way, Aleene's Tacky Glue, and I love this glue. It's one of my favourites. It does take a little while to dry. It's not fast drying, but that's fine because they're just eyes. I've used a big eye for the odd nose. Oh, that's a good idea. Yeah, why not? Oh, they're giving us all these ideas today. I love it. That's fabulous. Oh, sorry. I've pressed a button. There we go. Right, okay. Yes, Aleene's Tacky Glue. Love it. I use it for my bases as well. But because it's not fast drying, I like it for things like eyes, because if I do something silly, even though I'm doing my best to get it in the right place, if I do something silly or the hole closes up and I can't push it in, it's not just going to dry and I'm stuck with half an eye sticking out or anything else. Gorilla Glue is not my friend, just like Sam. It's not my friend. What did I do last time? Oh, that's right, I ended up sticking something to my jeans. Oops, because I got it all over my fingers, and without even thinking, I went to wipe it off on my jeans. And I got, yeah, it wasn't funny. So don't do that. But I do use the Gorilla Glue later because it is brilliant for attaching obviously brooch backs, because it is so, you know, it dries so quickly and it is really good. But yeah, just for the little things like whiskers and things like that, if I put a little dab of glue on each side, this is what I use. It dries completely clear, which is what I like. Yeah, so that's my recommendation. Right, so I'm just going to put a tiny bit of glue on a scrap piece of paper. Nothing fancy, I'm afraid. Little dab. Oh, I've had it upside down now. It's all sunk to the bottom. There you go. Little dab of glue on my scrap bit of paper. Nothing fancy, ladies. Just grab a bit out of the recycling and then pushing through. Now, I like these awls because they are tapered and they get bigger, obviously, as you go, as you push in. But whatever you've got is fine. So I'm just pushing those in, and I will just triple check that I'm happy with where those eyes are. Ooh, this one has got a slightly bent wire at the back. I don't know if I can bend that back again. So I'm going to have to be careful when I put that in. Don't want to waste it, but let's have a look. I want them to be even. Oh, yeah, not too bad. I'll go with that. Okay, so I'm going to take one out, little dab of glue, push it back in. I can just manipulate that a little bit. Look, perfect, till I get it where I want it. If I was using my Gorilla Glue, it doesn't take very long and I'm like, whoa, I haven't got time to fiddle with it. So yeah, that's why I like this glue. Hang on, something funny's come up on the laptop again. Right, it's back now. I use milk bottle tops for my glue. Oh, that's a good idea. Yeah, whatever you can use, that's brilliant. That's a great idea. Okay, so that's what she looks like so far with her eyes. A little bit further forward, because I know that I'm going to put the ears on the back. So next we're going to work on her nose. Now this bit might be a bit tricky. Hang on, before I put glue everywhere. You can't see me, so you can't laugh at me. I'm just going to fold that over. I know what I'm like. Okay, so, oh, he's upside down. Yes, I'm going to work on the nose next, and I'm going to attempt to show you how I do it. Now, it is tricky because I've got a really small piece, all right? And I didn't, very cleverly, bring a bigger piece to show you, which was a bit silly. But hopefully you can see, all right? I want to make sure, so I've finished with this now. I'm going to get it out of the way before I poke myself. I want to make sure that the front is really firm. Yeah, mine's pretty firm. Oh, but what I'm going to do is I'm just going to give it a few more stabs, just so I'm happy that the wool is not going to disappear back into the white wool and I'm going to lose all the black. So, okay, excellent. Just want to make sure. Okay, right. So this is the way that I do it. Doesn't mean it's the right way. Doesn't mean that you guys haven't got a better way or that you've got a way that you like to do it yourselves. Okay, but this is how I do it. I like to indent the V, the line, the smiley face before I put the black in. And I'll tell you why. Because the black follows that indented line much better than if I just try and do it freehand. Okay. I have seen people use a Sharpie and draw it on, of course, absolutely fine, and then go over it in the black. I've seen people freehand it. I know some people who stitch it. That's absolutely fine as well, okay? It's going to be your choice, but this is the way that I do it, just so you know, okay? So I find the centre of her nose first. Oh, my eyes today. I'm sure it's hay fever. It's really weird. Okay, so I'm going to say that's the middle. Doesn't matter if it isn't. Look at that. We're gonna say that's the middle. And what I do is I just do a little indent. So that's going to be the middle. Look, that's going to be the middle of the V. All right. And then I go along and I'm going to draw the top of indent where the top of the V is going to be. So I'm just giving myself a bit of a rough guide so I don't go all over the place. I'm going to indent where the second half of the V is. Yeah, so I can see it goes down. Oh, can you see? Probably not. Goes down here, down here. Okay. And then I know I'm going to draw just a line, tiny little line. Gosh, I don't even know how big that is. 3 millimeters maybe. Not very big at all. Okay, so I've got a dent, so I know my line's going to go down there. And then my smiley face. Now, depends how big you want your smiley face to go. But I'm going to go here. I'm sorry, I know you might be finding this quite tricky to see on camera, but once we start getting the colour in, you'll definitely see what I mean. Alright, so I've got loads of dots. I've got a dot in the middle of her nose to give me the bottom of the V. I've got 2 dots to the side, which is going to form the V. I've got a tiny dot at the bottom, which helps me to form the straight line down. And I've got a dot one side and a dot the other side for the smiley face. And then I'm basically going to join it all together. Okay, so if you have a more aggressive needle, it's quite useful, but obviously it does work with the 38. I'm holding this in my hand with a camera in front of me, so please be kind. Please go straight. Yes, we got it. Okay, so with a few stabs, I don't know whether you can see it online, I'm so sorry, but with a few stabs I've got a line. We'll first start at the B. and with a few stabs the other way, I've got the other side of the beat. All I am doing, if you can't see, is indenting where the black line. Ooh, we've turned on storage sense. Okay, I'll read that later. Thank you, laptop. Yes, I'm just literally not drawing, because I don't want to pull my needle across and break it. I am stabbing in the lines where the black is going to go. Okay, I'm going straight down for the little line in the middle, and then I'm going across to the smiley face one side and smiley face the other side. And what you'll find is, in theory, if we felted it quite well, not much should, what's the word I'm looking for? Disfigure? Do you know what I mean? Push everything in. But it will push a little bit in, and it does give it a little bit of a shape. But you don't want it to be too moved and too misshapen. Does that make sense? I hope it does. Okay, so I'm afraid you might not be able to see that online. You can make it out. Oh, can you? Oh, great. I think I've got light coming from one side. It's a beautiful day here, which makes a change from yesterday, which is good. But yes, so I've got the lines for the V, a line coming down, and a smiley face. Now, I then add my tiny bit of pink first. Okay, so when I say tiny bit of pink, I am not exaggerating. I am thinking, you know, sneeze and it'll disappear size pink. Just so you know. That might be too much. Can you see? Can you see? It might be too much. Okay, so all I'm doing, and I'm not making it really neat and tidy and making it into a perfect triangle or anything like that. I'm literally, hang on, which one's got, that one's got a little bit more. I'm literally just covering this bit so it gives it a bit of a hint that that's his nose. Rather, if you don't want to add that bit, of course, that's absolutely fine. But that is literally all it is for. Just to give it a bit of a hint that that bit's the nose. Alright, so I don't want too much. So the less you use, actually, you know, the better it's going to look. Alright, it's just a hint. Alright, so just placed it over the end of the nose. I'm going to put my 30 other one back. And I'm just felting it in. Now, I don't want to lose the lines. So what I usually do is start to stab where those lines are. And obviously that pushes everything in with the pink, which is nice. And I just stab in again and just felt this bit down. It doesn't need to look like a perfect triangle. I don't make sure that every side is all filled in. It's just a little bit of a nod to a nose. A nod to a nose. Interesting. Okay, fabulous. And then we'll add the black. All right. Now, for those of you that have done workshops with me before, and I know a lot of you have, when it comes to adding detail, I'm just going over those lines again, just so you know what I'm doing. When it comes to adding detail, like smiley faces and things like that, or lines for the eyes or anything like that, this is a really silly thing to say, but often in my workshops, this is what happens. People take too much black, and if they don't twist it into a really, really thin piece of yarn, then obviously the thicker your detail will be, and we want to go for really thin detail today. Okay, it's almost as if it's been stitched on. Alright, so I'm going to take a bit. When I say a little bit, that is literally all you're going to need. You might need your scissors, and I'll explain that in a second. I prefer this session instead of the Zooms. Oh well, that's nice, Ashley. That's good. We've got Zoom next week though, just so you know. Okay. I'm just drafting out. Okay, that might actually be a bit thick. Okay, so whoop, I'll take that bit off. I'm literally drafting out and twisting. Now, the more you twist, the more of a piece of yarn you'll get, and the smaller the detail will be. You are able to stab it in a bit, and it does. Sometimes it just disappears, so you have to be careful. But the smaller you can get it, the better, really. So I'm going to go with that. Okay. Now, because I've twisted it, once I start putting it on, technically you could pull it off, but it is trickier because you've twisted it. All right. So you might need to snip with your scissors if you've got way too much. There are tricks so that you don't need to use the scissors. So what I usually do is I usually just go back on myself. If I think, oh, actually it's pretty thin anyway, I can go back on myself. That's what I do. I twist my needle. If I've just got a tiny bit at the end, I twist the needle so it catches on the barbs, push it in. Okay, so there are ways. You don't have to use the scissors if you don't want to. So I personally, oh, got a bit of a fluffy nose. I like to go V, V, and then come back on myself. Or I do, it depends what the wool likes to do usually, or I do half one side, go back and do half the other side. But it's going to be personal preference. Try it and see which you prefer. All right, I've got a really thick bit at the end here. Instead of making my nose look silly, I'm just going to take that off. Okay, so this is going to be tricky to show you. But what's the word? See, I'm losing all my words, guys. This would have been easy for me before. I just anchor, that's a good word, in the end here. So I know that's not going to go anywhere. Okay, so I've anchored in the end. Oh, you can't see a thing, can you? Sorry, I've just looked at the laptop. Useful, Sarah, useful. So I've just anchored in here by twisting and pushing. All right, so I've got to the middle. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to do half. That's what I fancy doing today. So I'm going to go half. Ooh, so push where the dots were. I'm going to go down, push where the dots were. And I can always go back and just neaten it up or thicken it up in a minute, which it looks like I might do. And then I'm going to go the first bit of the smile. Oh, hang on. This one hasn't anchored in very well. That's it. Then I'm going to do the first bit of the smile. Where does it finish? I'm going to go to there. You can always change it if you decide your smile isn't big enough. You can always go a bit further. Those dots are there to help. You can just keep going. Okay, so it's quite thin. Ooh. So I'm going to go back on myself. And of course I can turn him upside down, back to front. He doesn't mind, or she doesn't mind at the moment. So I'm going to go back on myself to make it a bit thicker anyway. Gosh, I hope you can see, guys. I've got the camera in front of me. My silly hay fevery eyes. Oh, I hope I don't need glasses. Maybe that's the problem. So I just diagnosed myself while I'm online. Deary me. Right, I'm coming back on myself again. Back to that dot. And at any point, look, I can just go back, fill it in. Oh no. I obviously didn't anchor that in very well. There we go. I'm going back up. Move her around to where you want her. Thank you. I've just seen Ashley say anchor it in. Yeah, thank you, Ashley. My brain really isn't working. It's horrible. I say weird words and I go, is that the word I meant? What did I say yesterday? Something weird. I said, I don't think that's the word I mean, is it? Oh, my poor little brain. Oh dear. I was a clever lady once. Once. Oh dear. I've got a degree, would you believe? Not in felting, unfortunately. Classical history, my favourite thing in the world. Okay, right. Okay, so I can see now, I'm pretty happy with that. I can see though that this side is thinner than this side. Okay, so what I'm going to do, first of all, because I don't want it to be too thick, I am just going to go over those lines again, just to push it in a little bit. And then I'm going to put a tiny, tiny, tiny bit of black wool over that one bit of his nose. And then I think I'm happy. And the more you do this, the better and better you'll get, I promise. When I first started felting, all of my details were really thick. And that's okay, it's just one of those things, so I'm trying to anchor that bit in. It's just one of those things you have to learn, and the more you do it, the better and better you get. Or you'll find a different technique that works for you, which is just fabulous. If you prefer, oh, that's my cat, sorry, Merlin. Sorry if you heard the jingle, that's my cat. If you prefer to use, to sew it on, absolutely, if that's what you prefer, go for it. I know that there are some felters out there that make such small things that this detail is almost impossible, and they have to use pens, which is absolutely fine if that's what you want to do. Right, okay, pretty happy with that. I've got a few stray bits of black, and instead of spending time pushing it all in, which I would usually do, I'm going to snip them off. Ooh. And you know me, I don't use scissors very often. Snipping it off, ladies. Okay, so that's your head. Look how easy that was. All right, easy peasy lemon squeezy. All right, now she needs her ears, and this just brings her to life. I love making ears. Right, now ears. There are lots of different ways to make ears, obviously. This is just the way that I like to make them. I like the fact that you can make ears and you don't need a template or what's it called, sheet felt, or measurements on top. I just love it that you could just do it freehand, just using the wool. I think that's fabulous. So that's what I'm going to show you today. Okay, so these are 2 ears that I made earlier. They are literally just, are those the matching ears? Sorry, I have 4 ears. I might not have matched them very well. These ones were made with just the white fibre, with a teeny tiny bit of pink in the middle, just to give her a little bit of accent in the middle of her ears. Okay, now to get this shape, I make a triangle. Okay, so when you've made a flat triangle like that, it looks nothing like the ear shape that we're going to make, but it works. Okay, so you then, I'm going to show you how to do it, but just so you know, you then can pinch where you want it to whatever size, and you get an ear. If you wanted it to be smaller, you just pinch higher. If you wanted it to be bigger, you just pinch further down. Okay, brilliant tip. You can pull it, manipulate it however you like. All right, we're going to make triangles. Okay, just put those up there so you can see what we're doing. Right, best way, if you're making, add a little tongue to stick out. Oh, that would be so cute. That would be so cute. Yeah, you could just use your candy floss colour, couldn't you? Oh, I'd love it. Brilliant idea, Ashley. See, where did you come up with that? Gosh, clever lady. Right, now, this is enough for 2 ears. That's probably a bit too much. Okay, so the best way when you're making 2 things is to always take the 2 sets of fibre at the same time. Okay, I do have a YouTube video. If you pop over to my YouTube, just type in Felting with Nature. There is one on there that I did actually for this group, for my members, and I ended up putting it on YouTube. But it shows you how to make matching ears. It shows you how to make them with sheet felt. It shows you how to make them with templates, just a cut-out template, and freehand. Okay, so just in case you're interested and you want to make different ears, you can go and have a nosy at that. Okay, so I'm taking roughly, that one looks a bit thinner. I'm just going to take a tiny little pinch with that one. There you go. Okay, so I've taken roughly my 2 pieces, so I'm just going to put one to one side. Now, what I usually like to do is fold over first, and that gives me that first line. I could literally draw it, felt it over, draw it, felt it over, but just to get it a bit thicker, I'm going to just fold over this time. I'm going to take my multi-needle tool this time, because I find it much easier, and I'm just tapping that bit down. I don't want it to stick to the mat, and if anything does stick to your mat, then peel it off. Okay, don't just rip it off, literally peel. Okay, nice and easy. Turning it over just so I can get that first line here as best I can, and I'm going to use that to my advantage. It's going to be one of the sides of my ear. I haven't decided which side yet. Doesn't really matter. You'll see what I mean. Okay, so that's all come together, so peeling off. Okay, so I'm going to put it this side, right? So I've got this line here that's already been made. I just need to make this line here. So if I want to make it roughly the same sort of size as that, although this head is slightly smaller, isn't it? So I might go a little bit smaller. But I could use this as a template. So once you made your first one, use it as a template for your second one, all right? I'm going to make mine slightly smaller today, just because my head is slightly smaller. So I'm just going to, what I would say, eyeball it. That's very me. And I just fold over. If I thought when I folded that over, That's just way too much wool. It's going to get really thick. I could now take a little bit off, couldn't I? But if I'm going to do that, I literally take a few fibres at a time. Right, so I don't pull the whole thing apart. Okay, so I am just folding it over. Now, once you make the triangle, you can then, obviously, if you're making fox ears and you preferred like more of a pointed shape at the top, you could leave it pointed. But what we'll do is we'll just round it off a little bit until we get the shape that we want. So the first thing you need to do though is make this triangular shape not firm. It won't go firm because it's a flat 2D piece, but you need to make it quite well, as if it was maybe sheet felt, something like that, so it all stays together, and then you'll be able to shape it better around the edges. Now I've got loads of fluff at the bottom here, and I've left that on purpose because that's going to help me attach to the back of my head. Again, if I've got too much, I can just take some off later. I'm not worried. Alright. If you had, I call it a glitter clatter tool, how funny. If you had the other clover tool with the 7 or 5 needles, that's a good thing to use on flat pieces. Okay. Or sometimes I just use my clover tool with 3, where's it gone? This one's got 3 42 gauge needles in. So I can just do this, which is quite good. And as you can see, I'm peeling it off, I'm turning it over. I'm peeling it off, I'm turning it over, because I don't want it to get stuck to the mat. Okay, once I've done that and it's all come together quite well, and I spend a few minutes on these, I can then rub it in my hand. That helps to get all the fibres together, the heat, the friction from your hands. You get all the fibres come together. And then can you see that it is still quite fluffy around the edge? You could snip it off, or you could be brave, put that out of the way for a minute, and because this one's going pretty, not firm, but well felted now, you could go around the edge. Now, I'm naughty, naughty Sarah, and I'm happy to do it just like this. However, I know some people find that tricky and they end up poking themselves. Oh, I got something ready and I forgot to pick it up. Let me go and get it. My son lent me an old Christmas card, bless him. And what you could do, so you could get any piece of card, fold it over, use that, so you save your fingers, okay? So you can just now push in, if that makes sense. That was a lovely tip from Jenny Barnett when I first started felting. Brilliant tip. I've been felting a long time now. I'm an oldie. And I'm happy to do it in my fingers. Not saying I don't have accidents. But yes, I'm happy to do it in my fingers. But that's a great tip, just in case you haven't seen that before. Okay, so I can then round off the end if I want to as well. So just make it a little bit rounder rather than pointed. Ashley says you could add a tag or an earring. Yes. Oh, I love that idea as well. She's on it. She's on it today. I'm going to see all these cool things coming out on all these brooches, aren't I? It's going to be amazing. Right, so that's the first ear. And obviously you need to make 2 ears. So the second piece that we took, we are going to use to make a second ear. Okay, so we just do exactly the same thing. All right. Now, you could use the first ear as a template for your second ear. Why not? Brilliant. But the first thing I always do, like I said before, I'm going to fold it over and get that nice line first. Get that nice line first. Oh, I've got needles all over the place. Everything's wobbling today, including me. Table's wobbling. I hope the camera isn't wobbling. Oh dear, please tell me if it is. I don't want to make anyone seasick. We're just felting this all down. So we've been felting almost an hour now. I think I was a bit chatty at the beginning, sorry. We've been felting for nearly an hour now. It's usually take me about an hour and a half. Depends how slow I am, what I'm doing at the time, but if you've got to rush off, please don't feel you have to stay. You've got to rush off. This will be in group, in our members group forever. Ooh. So you don't need to worry, okay? Right. And I'm happy to give any advice. If you think you've rewatched it and you thought, oh Sarah, that doesn't make any sense, which is just sounds just like me, then please feel free to pop up a post. More than happy to help. That one's got a little bit too much at the top, so I'm just going to take a bit off rather than hinder myself later. There you go. So I'm just making the second ear exactly the same way as I made the first one. Don't worry if you're not keeping up with me. I am I'm not very good at slowing down, but I am trying to slow down for you. If you need me to go over anything again, please just say. If I've gone too quick over anything or it didn't make sense the first time, please just say. Happy to help. Okay. So, oh, hang on. Can I ask if you've decided what's happening with the group after June? Oh, Ashley. Well. Oh, this is complicated. The group is not going anywhere, Ashley. Okay? I promise. The group will not go anywhere. It's a lovely little group. And it's really nice because we all know each other now, which is just lovely, which is exactly what I wanted. Exactly what I wanted. For everybody to know each other, for us to support each other, and be felting friends, which I think we all are. But I'm not sure what's going to happen with the membership because can't tell you too much at the moment, but I have something else that I have been asked to do, which is amazing. Yeah, so I'm going to have a think, and I promise I will get back to you. But the group's not going anywhere, all right? Just so you know. It's not going anywhere. Some of you may know I had a little bit of trouble with my work. I'm not supposed to talk about it because it's a school, unfortunately, but they are making me make a very tricky decision that they don't need to make me make, but they have chosen to do that, which is a shame. Oh, I've just got a little bit of VM there. Let me get rid of that vegetable matter. Yes, so I don't know what's going to happen in September, whether I'm still going to have a job there or not. Oh, nightmare. But you know what? As my husband said, when I tried to ask him what I should do, he said, you don't need to tell them until August. You just look after yourself. You just make sure that you are well and that you can make a decision. All right? So I love my husband more than anything. But my point is, as it being Mental Health Awareness Week, yeah, he said, make sure you're in the right space before you make your mind up. Bless him. So, yes, like everyone, everybody struggles, unfortunately. But that's what we're here for. That's what this group is here for, to support everybody. Absolutely. Clever hubby. Yeah, he is, Ashley. Do you know what? We've been together for 18 years and he's literally my soulmate. He's literally says the most... If I am absolutely distraught, he knows exactly what to say. He is amazing. Oh, Sarah, that's a worry for you. It sounds like your husband is amazing. Oh, thanks, Lee. I'll tell him that. That will cheer him up. But yes, that's what I'm doing. And then I can make a decision in August of what is best for me and my children. So, yeah. I'm sorry, I went a bit off piece there. I do apologise, Ashley. But I promise you the group isn't going anywhere. All right? I promise. Right, while I was nattering away, I've managed to make my 2 ears now. How's everyone going with their 2 ears? Like I said, I don't worry too much if they are not perfect. I am not perfect in any way. Neither is nature. It doesn't matter if they are slightly off, but I'm happy with mine. And don't forget you're making them for your head. All right, mine might be a little bit big, but we'll see in a minute. Oh, thanks, guys. You are lovely. Okay, so to make, to add the pink, I have got this lovely Candy Floss Pink, which I love. Oh, excuse me. I use this for a lot of my projects. I just love this colour. It's Candy Floss Pink from the Felt Box, just so you know. And we are going to use a tiniest little pinch in the middle. Now, it depends how much you want in the middle. Completely your choice. If you want a big bit of pink, go for it. If you just want a little tiny bit of pink, go for that as well. The other way, which I did, I think I did it with this one. The other way, because obviously when you are putting a piece of pink onto the ears, it goes straight through onto the back. You have to be really gentle, really careful you don't push everything through. But on this one, and this is what I do for some of my hairs, when I add the white in the middle, I got a little piece, sorry, I will show you. I got a little piece of colour. I then twisted it a little bit and folded it in half so that at the bottom I've got this little twisted bit here, and then put it in the ear like this and then felted in, and that leaves it more fluffy and it sticks out more rather than being flat onto your ear. So that's another nice technique as well. Yeah, if you would like to do it that way. But I'm just going to add some to the top of these, to the bottom of these for now. And then obviously when we pinch it, we can just, whoop. So, oh, there's a bit of rogue black in there. Look, watch out, guys. It's obviously been stored with my black. Come on, black. Out you come. There he is. I've got him. And a little bit this side. And I'm going to make sure oh, that one's got red in it. That's interesting. Don't know where that came from. I haven't got red out today. So make sure you're happy that they're roughly the same. And then, like I said, when you felt that into your ear, you are going to have to be really careful. I'm going to use my 42 gauge and I'm just going to tap. Once I've tapped it in, I can rub it in my hands. That makes it come in nicer. But you have to sort of try not to push all the way through. It's just bouncing so that you don't end up pushing it all the way through. Now, if you did and some of the fibres came through the other side, you could use your scissors, snip it off, absolutely. But obviously if you've got two really contrasting colours, it can be quite tricky. But then sometimes it can be to your benefit, because if you're making hare's ears or something like that and you want lots of different blends to come through, then use it to your advantage. Do you get the crowns from the makers? Ah, sorry, Anne. The crowns. I was saying earlier, where have I put them? Oh, there they are. Here they are. These ones I got from Felt and Dandy from their Etsy shop. Okay. Yeah, but if you are looking for them and you don't mind waiting, you can get them. This one's got a funny bit on it. You can get them slightly cheaper off eBay. And they come from China, but they are slightly cheaper. I can't remember for the life of me how much they are. No, I can't remember. I'll see if I can find a link later. But you look for crown spacer beads, and there are lots of different types. I just love these ones because they're goldy, and you can get silver and bronze. I just like these ones. So yeah, I hope that helps, Anne. Okay, so now side of his head. Oh dear, we got a bit further along. Now you're going to take your ears and pinch them. So mine have actually come out a little bit larger than I would have liked. So all I have to do is pinch a bit higher up. Look, easy peasy lemon squeezy. So I'm just going to take a little bit of the fluff off the bottom of mine so I can make mine slightly smaller. And I'm holding on to the piece that I've made so I don't lose it all. Look. And then I'm going to pinch. I might need, if you're pinching it like me and you want to make it smaller, you might need to move your, the pink a little bit further up. Okay, so obviously I'm covering lots of my pink as I'm doing a little bit smaller, and that's fine. But what you're going to do is where you've pinched, you're going to stab, not with your fingers in place, obviously. The amount of times I say that, just in case. So I'm going to put it straight on here where my fingers were pinched. with the sound effects as well. I'm literally just holding it all together. Look at that. Okay, and then I have an ear, and that's going to go on the side of her head. And then I'm going to do the same with the second one. So make sure they match. So get the first one. Yeah, they match. If they don't match, and one of them is slightly too small, pull it. Literally stretch it. That's a really good tip. Stretch it and then put the pinch in. Okay, so hopefully that's staying together. Lovely. Now, to attach those, super easy. Just pull it out, the fluff. Pull out the fluff. Place on the side of the head. And now, I should explain, it's got this bit here, obviously where you've pinched, that does make the head look rather large. But if you just push that, oh gosh, don't drop it like that. If you just push that down and felt it in, okay, what we're going to do is we are going to be putting loads of fluff, loads of curls, aren't we? So you're not going to see any of that, okay? So just push it in. If you've got your pins, like me, in the side of your mat, then you could use that to hold on while you place the other one and then felt them in, okay? I am going to just do one at a time. But if you'd like to place them in first and make sure you've got them both where you want them, that is a really good thing to do as well. I've just gone back to my multi-needle tool just to speed me up a bit. Watch your fingers. I'm not worried that some of the pink is showing through. Should have said that as well. I'm not worried about that pink because I know it's all going to get covered up. If I wasn't happy that it got that extra pink, or I wasn't adding all those curls to the back of his head like I know I'm going to, then I could just get some white and pop that over the top when I'd finished. But I know it's going to be covered anyway. So one side. The thing is getting them to match, ladies. That's the tricky bit. And then I'm going to go back to my other needle just for a moment to get it in. And then I'll go back to my multi-tool. Okay. Oh, gosh, that's a crazy ear. Watch what you're doing, ladies. Make sure you've got them in the same place. They do have crazy sticking out ears, especially those lambs. So don't worry too much if they do stick out. I quite like it when it looks cute and all sticking out. I've got a lovely thing, I think it was meant for the garden, but a lamb up on my side, and I always look at him and think, oh, I love his sticky out ears. It's just cute as a button. Right, now one ear is slightly longer than the other. Of course it is. Where I've put it on. Yours is looking like a rabbit. No, we're not making rabbits today. What colour did you do, Vicky? You'll have to show us. I don't think he looks like a rabbit. I'm thinking in my head, if he looks like a rabbit, then put the ears on the side of the head rather than up like a rabbit's ears. Is that the problem? Because they do have very similar ears, don't they? If I was making a little rabbit, I'd have done the same sort of ears, but I would have put them up instead of to the side. Okay, mine looking crazy. I love it. Oh, sometimes you just got to go with it. So mine are looking rather crazy at the moment. Not quite even. Ah, that's better. But once they're on and you've got this bit all covered with your curls. Also no sound. Oh, hang on a minute. Hang on a minute. Looking good, Sarah. Popping in and out as I'm packing. Oh, you're packing. Oh, you're packing those orders. Are you packing them for Christmas? What do you mean no sound? Oh, I see. Oh. So I could say anything. Watch out. Give all your secrets away. Right, okay, so head all done. Lovely. Now, like I said, we are going to do an egg shape for the body. Okay, this is really easy. I've moved the ears down and it looks much better. Ah, fabulous. If you just quickly Google sort of lambs or sheep, obviously, Vicky, I'm really sorry, my lamb is in the other room and I don't want to leave you to go and get it. You'll see they are on the side of the heads, all right? Okay, so go for an egg shape. Use this. You don't want to be too big, all right? If you want a rounder shape, go for it, absolutely. Okay, I wanted it to just cover all around his her head. Okay, so you could draw on if you'd like to. Use a pen, more than welcome. Like I said, I'm a bit of a freehander. I'm scared now I've said that. I'm scared. So I'm just using my scissors. And if I make it a little bit bigger to start with, I can always cut it down. So I've got that spare, look, could use that for something else. Could use it for something else. So I'm going with this, and I know it doesn't have to be perfect. I should have said that. It doesn't have to be perfect, because when we add, we're going to add some white. And as we go around the edge of the white, we can round everything off. So don't worry if it's got these little, you know, what's the word? Frayedy, fluffy bits there. All right. Okay, so let's just double check. Yeah, I'm quite happy with that. I think I might just round the bottom off a little bit. Not quite so egg shaped, Sarah. Lovely. Okay, so that's what I've gone for. And as you can see, it's a bit snippy, but that's fine, because what we're going to do is we're going to cover it in white and make it as the shape that we want it to be. So a little bit more white. And the reason I covered it with white is A, so I could get the nice rounded edge, because I knew that if I put wool around the edge I could shape it. And also because the curls are going to stick better to it as well. Right, so that's why I've gone with a white over the felt rather than just using that as my base. All right, I've used that as my base because I wanted it to have a little bit more stability, because obviously we're going to wear them as brooches. Okay, so I've got a big pile here. Oh, random bit in there. Let's get rid of that. I'm going to put it over the top and I'm going to felt it in. If you have any random rogue bits of colour, feel free to take them out. But you are going to be covering it with curls. I'm going to use my multi-needle tool and just tap it all in to the felt with the sound effects again. So it's all tapped in, and then I peel it off, turn it over, and I'm just going to use any of the access. Oh dear. See, my poor brain. I'm going to use the bits that's left over at the sides. I'm going to pull them over and felt them in. If you don't quite cover the middle, you can just get a little bit more wool, not a problem. Oh, it's gone a bit grey out there. No, got me washing out. Yesterday, it absolutely chucked it down here. Ugh, it was horrible. Could you just felt a firm disc? Absolutely, you could just felt a firm disc. And usually, Ashley, I know you've been on my courses before. I do just use the wool. There is no reason you can't do that. It will just take a few extra minutes to get it to all come together. But I thought it would give it a bit more stability if I did it like this, a bit quicker, rather than spending the extra time. But absolutely, you could. You would just indent the shape you wanted it to be, fold it all in like we did before with the ears, and felt it down. Keep turning. Yeah, absolutely. Use your clitter clatter tool if you've got one. Use your cloven multi-tool, flatten it all out, get it all to come together. Ooh, absolutely. Okay, so I'm just going to double check that's still, yeah, I'm still happy with that. Right, now when it's all come together, I can then just go around the edges and neaten them all out if I want. Or I could leave that until the end, because obviously I'm going to be fiddling with it a bit more. I could leave that until the end and just go round and make sure it's all felted in. Okay, your choice. That's all coming together. Now, it doesn't matter which side is the front and which side is the back. However, if you decide to do your brooch like me, and what I've done is I've glued it on, and then I've put a piece of just the white felt over the top so you can't see the brooch. If you decide to do it like that and not cover the whole back, then you might want the back of it to look quite neat. I don't know, it's up to you. So if you want it to look quite neat, go for the neater side as the back, and the other side you're going to be covering. Your choice. All right. Okay, so then we just need to get our head where you want it to go. So I'm going to go about here, and I'm going to felt my head onto this disc. Now I know that my brooch goes right at the top. okay, because that's how it hangs better. Alright, you've shown us an option for using different materials, which we most likely have in our stash. Oh, good, yeah. I would use white, I should say that. I would use white because obviously if you're pushing fibres through, you need it to be white, just so you know. Okay, so I've pushed this through so it's staying together. You could, if you'd like to, use a bit of glue underneath here instead of felting it on. Absolutely, you could do that. It's not going to go anywhere if you do that. Your choice, all right? But just spend a bit of time getting that together, okay? What I'm going to do... Look, I'm being naughty. That's me banging, sorry. I'm going to try a bit of glue, see what it does. Let me try the glue and I'll let you know how it works. I'm going to try the Gorilla Glue and see if it sticks. Now, the other thing I should have said, hang on, lid going back on the glue, don't trust you, don't trust me. Okay, the other thing I should have said is it depends how far you want your head out. If you want your head sticking out a little bit, which I've done here, it's sort of sticking out if you look at it from this side. Okay, I've left a little bit under here. Then obviously you're just felting the back of her head. All right, if you want it to be flat on, your choice, then you can felt the whole lot. All right, but just do the back of her head. Sorry, I should have said that. Let me try this glue again. Oh, I'm being so brave. It's going to go everywhere. You watch. So I know it's about there, wasn't it? Oh, I'm scared now. Oh, nothing's coming out. Come on. Okay, this is my Gorilla Glue because I know it doesn't take very long. I'm going to see what happens. I think it should be okay. So I'm going there. I'm going to hold that on for a minute while you guys are felting. Sorry, little Miss Ju-Baa-Lee. Oh, I might have a sip of my drink as well. Oh, this is interesting to watch. Literally watching glue dry. Oh dear. Oh, do you know what I'm going to do? Oh yeah, I don't want to stick it to my new mat, do I? Can you imagine? Oh. Oh, dearie me. Right, okay. Ooh, I think it might need a couple more minutes, so I'm just going to leave it for a second. Okay, so I've chosen to try the glue method. See what happens, if that's quicker for you. Because obviously these are going to, if they're brooches or they're going to go on bags or whatever you're going to do with them, they do need to be really sturdy and really well felted, otherwise they come apart really quickly. Anything that's, you know, handmade has got, unfortunately, it might fall apart, which is why we've got to make it really well. Oh, just spoiled a bit, come off. Make it really well and make it really sturdy. So let's try that. Okay. I don't know if that's stuck or not, ladies. I'm going to go through this side. Oh, it's gone hardish. That's a good sign, isn't it? So I'm going around the edge of the glue. I don't know if you can. Can you stick it through the glue? Oh, maybe it's not as hard as it should be then. Okay, so I'm just giving it a bit of extra then, making sure it's all felted on. Not going to go anywhere. Going through this side as well. If you were finding it really tricky and you didn't want to use the glue, you could use a bit of white fibre just underneath her head before you put it on, and it acts a bit like glue. So obviously you'll have lots of fresh fibres that you'll be able to push through, and everything should connect okay. All right. Just giving it a bit. I don't want it to go. I don't want it to fall off. Well, I say I just don't trust the glue. How silly is that? Isn't that funny? Right, making sure it's all on. It's not going anywhere now. That's not going anywhere. Okay, so next, easy peasy, you're just going to use your curls. So whatever curls you've got, well, I've got these really tiny ones that I'm going to use today, I think. I've got these ones as well. Oh, they're just delicious, aren't they? Oh, they smell so good. I'm at it again, watch out. So I literally go round the whole of her head. So I'm going round the whole of her head, behind her ears and on the top of her head. If you choose to go on the top of the head, obviously the crown will sit on top, but it still sits on really nicely. I've used Gorilla Glue, like I said earlier, and it sits on really nicely. It's not going anywhere. All right, so get your curls out, ladies. My favourite bit. Love the curls. If you have to use your scissors to pull the curls apart, then you'll get to keep a better curl then. If you've pullen them apart and they're just going into a fluff, it can be quite a shame. So if you need to use your scissors, please feel free. I might do the top of the head first. Let's find a really nice bit for the top of the head. Ooh, I'm trying to pull mine apart. Mine are quite well together. I use UHU glue, blah, 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 glue as Struggle with Gorilla. Had so many that don't come out of the bottle. Ooh, that's funny, Maria. I thought the same thing. They don't come out sometimes, you're right. That's why, who gave me the tip to bang it? I can't remember. I think it was Alison over at Felt and Dandy. Bang it. Bang it first. That's what I do. Yeah, and that's how I usually manage to get it out. But they dry up really quickly as well, don't they? Which is a shame. Because I remember I bought some for a workshop. I was always sticking on. I think it was crowns actually. It was a bee workshop, and I bought some. And by the time I got to the actual workshop, one of them had completely dried up, which is not useful, is it? Oh dear. Right. So, oh, I've just got a very interesting message about some fluff. Oh, that's what we want. The lovely Claire Phillips just messaged me about some fluff. Oh, it's my favourite. Sorry, get distracted again. Right, so I am just, ooh, okay. I will give you the tips. Where I have glued the back, finding it really tricky to get these bits in, so you're going to have to just go round the glue a little bit, just so you know. Watch your needles, don't break them. So I've got these nice little curly bits I want to add to the front of mine. To her head. It can be as curly as you like. You could just have a tiny little bit, you can have loads, you can have it going down over her ears. Your choice. I'm just going to go with that for now and see how it goes. See if I like it. Here's some more fluff. Love it. So I'm just going to get this message out of the way so I can see your comments. I was told by Gorilla Glue to with the top on, bang it. Yeah, absolutely, that's what I was doing, Sandra. Maybe it was you that told me then. Aha, yeah, upside down, give it a bang, and it usually works. Yeah, but after first opening, yeah, absolutely. I think it just dries out, Maria. It's funny, isn't it? I mean, it's no good to anyone if it just dries out when it's in the bottle. Oh, excuse me. I think it's to do with how much air it's exposed to. So if it's exposed to loads of air and you leave it open for a long time, it starts to harden, doesn't it? I don't know. As long as you've got something that you like, that's all that matters. Right, more fluff, more curls. Of course, you didn't have to make him curly, her curly. You could use just your fluff. Just have a fluffy sheep. Why not? Yarn, if you've got any nice yarn you could use. Ooh, bought some lovely yarn from the charity shop the other day. Some brown sort of boucle yarn, which was quite interesting. So I'm looking forward to using that for a project. Oh, I'm going to have to be naughty. This breaks my heart. I'm going to have to just snip there, get it off. Don't want to pull it and pull everything off. So I have switched to my 38, is it my star? Sorry, is that my head underneath the camera? Sorry. Black one, 38 star. Because sometimes, as you well know, curls can be quite tricky to get on. So I was just trying to get them on with a more aggressive needle. But the 38s do work. They just take a little bit more time. Okay, so I think this one is not as round as this one, is it? But I'm going to go round the edge at the end and round it off. Taking a fluffy bit off and round it off a bit. So I can always change the shape slightly, I'm not worried. Try and get all your nice curly bits at the top. That's another really good tip. So if you've got a bit that's got a fluffy bit on it, felt the fluffy bit on and then put the curly bit over the top. Okay. Now these are slightly different curls to these ones. These are a bit more creamier and shinier actually, which was really nice. I've just gone underneath her head. How many times am I going to do that? Her head. And until you're happy, just keep adding curls. When I'm feeling better, I'll make one of these for a present for my friend. Oh, that sounds lovely. They'll love it. My mum's already trying to get one. She always does this to me. Oh, I like that, Sarah. And then I make it. I never see it again. Don't know where she stashes them. Bless her. Right, I'm quite happy with that. His ears have gone a bit squiff, so I'm just putting those back into place. Oh, look, nearly there. I think maybe I didn't have as much curls at the top this time. And that's okay. They're all going to look slightly different, aren't they? Oh. Oh dear. Could just add some more curls to the top. What about this bit? Oh, I can't stop adding curls. Make it stop. Never. Curls are my absolute favourite, as you all well know. I'm terrible with curls. Oh dear. You should see the collection I've got that I can't ever use because they're just too beautiful. Oh dear. Right, quite happy with that. I'm just going to go around the edge now and round everything off. Whoop. Just make sure it's all in. You take your time. I'm rushing. You take your time, all right? It is 20 to 12. So we've been felting for about an hour and a half and she's almost done, which is fab. I want to be able to show you how I put the back on. So I'm just going around the edge, rounding everything on. I can change the shape slightly. I quite like this one. She's got more built up on her shoulders, so she's a little bit different. Look. Yeah, like that. I might spend a little bit more time when you're not all sat here watching me dying of boredom. Just going round and making sure it's nice and firm and those curls aren't going anywhere and it's all filled in. But for now, I'm going to leave her as she is. I made a lamb and she got the... Oh, sorry, it's moving and I can't see it. I made a lamb and she named it Sarah. After the film with Clint Eastwood. Oh, I don't know what that is. Good name though, good name. Love it. Love it. Best name ever. Right, okay, so to put the crown on, really easy. Do you know what? I might not do this on camera so I don't get stuck to the crown because that would be hilarious, wouldn't it? But I just take my Gorilla Glue, and I do use Gorilla Glue for this one because I want it to go on quite quickly. I don't want it to fall off. I don't want to wait for it. And I usually put it just to the side. I quite like it just to the side with the Gorilla Glue. You can have it straight on the top. They're all going to be different. Completely your choice. All right? So that's with the Gorilla Glue. For the back, I do exactly the same. Gorilla Glue and the brooch. Okay? So I put a little line across, stick it on. Usually I'm opening this so that I don't have my fingers near the glue. Funnily enough. Imagine that. Yeah, so like this. Okay, takes a couple of minutes for it to dry. Doesn't take long. And then I take a tiny bit, so those scrap bits that you had from earlier, okay, all you need to do is make sure that it's straight. Obviously that one's got a little bit of a squiff in it, but make sure it's straight. Just measure it up and just snip a little square, or sorry, a little rectangle to go over the top. Covers it up, disappears. Brilliant. There is another way, and I'm going to show you because I've just discovered this way and I like it. Okay, so if you've got this stuck on, imagine it's stuck on, you cut out the shape of the back of your brooch. So just put it on top, cut out the felt, and what you do is you snip. Hang on, I don't know if I can just borrow this for a minute. So this is stuck on, imagine. You've got your rounded bit, this is over the top. You snip here in the felt, so a snip, you snip where the back bit is as well, and you literally thread the snip over this bit, push it over that bit, and you've covered the whole back. I did this for one of my brooches. Unfortunately, it's sold, so I can't show you. But you've then covered the whole back. You can put a little bit of glue, and I would suggest using perhaps not the Gorilla Glue because it would go really hard. But just use a different glue that takes a little while to dry, and just dab it at the back over the slits that you've cut, and you've covered the whole thing, which I think is really clever. People that making sort of leather brooches, they have leather bits at the back. Obviously, I'm just using felt at the moment. But yeah, I thought that was a nice way to do it. And there you have her. I didn't quite finish all the bits with the glue off. Funnily enough. I don't want to get covered in glue and embarrass myself. But you just take your time, enjoy it, get it how you want it.